every one of us. And I believe we all are ready to make the most of this. And of course, we all see what's been going on in the entire financial markets, from stocks to cryptocurrencies to commodities to indices, foreign exchange. So, I mean, a lot has been happening the past few months, actually, since the POTUS, the president of the United States, got on board and he's been embattled, in a trade war between the United States and China. The truth is, the very foundation of the financial world we are having right now has so much behind, which will date back to the Rockefeller, to the Rothschild, to the investment banking structure that has been since 1897. And so many things have been built on that, and a lot of evolution has happened to money itself. And which is why we are having this discussion, because we wouldn't be talking about cryptocurrencies without we understanding a bit backstory, right, of how money originates. And we hope that at the very end of this discourse of this virtual class, we can instill some bits of learning, while also we can also we can also push the excitement and catalyst for us to go do more digging, because I'm going to be telling us the truth. Beyond all this, we would have to do a lot of work studying the market ourselves and reading a lot of books. That's the truth. And then getting so much of information so we can be intentionally equipped with the current financial terrain that we have to deal with. The truth is, either we have to deal with it now or it deals with us later on. I mean, Nigeria, for instance, we are having CBDCs already, the central bank digital currencies, and we having what they call, some people call it X Naira, X NGN, some call it E Naira. Either ways, the money you have in your accounts are all digital versions, and of course, you can always transfer them from, let's say, GT Bank to UBA to Zenith Bank to the most recent would I call them online banks that we have, OPay, Money Points, um, um, different of them, including PiggyVest. So I'm saying all this to just say that the world and the whole thing around finance is deliberately going digital, and it's important you just don't say, hey, I don't know what you're doing there. You must take your time to learn it bit by bit and then get every necessary build up you must get about that. So and that's why I want to congratulate all of us who are taking our time to learn this. We hope to still build up on this after we are done with, I think, possibly quotes, maybe 3 or 4. I don't know. We'd have another session where we're going to be talking about decentralized finance. So there's something as decentralized finance, which is a financial system that goes beyond the um, administrational structure or hierarchical structure that we have in several organizations that are dependent on the board of trustees, the management, and those who are stakeholders, right? Just those, three, important, pillars of the financial system of an organization. So we have a decentralized finance system is simply one that is dependent on every participant of that, economy, of that ecosystem, and no one person's suggestion, no one person's input is to be thrown off, right? A decentralized finance economy is one where the financial decision, the financial solution, and the financial deployments are all dependent on every participant in that ecosystem. That does in no way give hierarchical honor to those who are earlier participants or those who perhaps are in fact the founder. So it's a way of distributing ownership of that financial ecosystem, and that is just the whole thing about decentralized finance. We'll definitely have to talk about that. Then that said, we wanted to introduce us to the foundations of trading and the financial markets. Trust me, we just have very short time to do so much, and I really hope we can really yet do so much. So I want to welcome us to the crash course, and I hope that if after this you can which is part of the objectives, you can say yes, you are confident in your understanding of the financial markets, and by the end of this 2 days virtual event, you should be able to look at the market and give a holistic view of either it's a bullish market or a bearish market. You should be able to define what the blockchain is. You should be able to explain what cryptocurrencies are, coins and tokens. You should also be able to, at the end of this class, make financial decisions such as, is this a worthy coin to buy or not? And everything there is around understanding the blockchain and explaining the same to those who care to know. And so that's that about the objectives of this class. All right. I think it's already been stated, so would know so much about that. I'm going to be starting with this icebreaker question. As you can see on the screen, what does money mean to you? I really wish we can make this very interactive, but we are very much limited with time. So, what does money mean to you as a person, as a student, as a family man, as a 9 to 5 hour, someone who is working in a 9 to 5 system? What does money mean to you? What do you think money is? Your salary, is that money? Your access to enjoying the life you desire, is that money? Or perhaps the the cash you are given every now and then to go get some groceries as a wife, is that what money means to you? So we need to come to a common ground of understanding what money means so that we can take our journey from that point. Because the truth is, when people hear cryptocurrencies, they think of a get rich quick scheme where they can just sogundogmo. That's the best Yoruba I can say at this moment. Apologies for those who don't understand that, how you can turn two to the three or four, I mean, at an instance like that. It doesn't work that way. That's the truth. Honestly speaking. Yeah, so we need to understand what money is, right? And we need to understand how the basics of supply and demand as it's input in that. We need to see the place of fundamental or technical analysis following our understanding of money and the markets. Okay, so I think we will be discussing money from this perspective of how finance has evolved. So prior to, I mean, if we begin to look back to some 2,000 years ago, or in fact more, because some 2,000 years ago, we definitely are beginning to see certain mentions in different old manuscripts of how certain items have been attributed values that are best attributed for money. I mean, we all are aware of the 33 silver that was used for the betrayal of our Lord Jesus Christ. So, I mean, you can definitely know that back then, which is about 2,000 years ago, silver, which is a metal, precious metal, is definitely also used as a picture of money. So prior to then, to that time, I'm talking of that 2,000 years ago, there definitely was what money used to be. So gold, silver, precious metals are all advanced level of money compared to the barter system. We all would definitely agree with me that the barter system is, how you trade goods directly with commodities, with with what you have. So you can literally explain that as saying it's about trading what you have with what you need. That's what a barter system is. And it's actually very skilled. When I'm saying skilled, it's tilted more to one part than the other. There's almost no midpoint or neutral ground of bringing trade to benefit both participants in this trade. Because that's the truth. When we talk about money, it often best paired, right, like a conjoint twin with the market. So the M and M, the money and the market goes hand in hand. And so there was the barter system before we begin to have gold, precious metals. There was how you can, just take a mirror of, a human being and exchange him for for mirror, for gunpowders. I mean, we should, in fact, know the stories. It's something very much that's a barter system, right? Yeah, even though that's very much battered as a barter system, but in any ways, it's still a barter system. Yeah. So human beings were exchanged by some African kings for gold. I mean, for mirrors, for gold powder, and all of those things, right? So that's a picture of barter system. Or for example, you worked I know someone who told me of a story when she in the 60s, I mean 1960s, when she goes to farm, she would work with this farmer, and the farmer would be like, I would pay you for your work, and the payment would be one tuber of yam and a lot of cottons. So because it was a cotton farm, so she got paid in bunch of cottons, and I mean a daily wage, and also Yeah, you can be so sure it's not going to be standardized. I mean, it could in fact be emotional. Just imagine she offending the person who, brought her to the farmer, and then that person, I mean, like the HR in this sense, just suddenly goes back there to tell the farmer that this girl is actually misbehaving. You can be so sure its emotion will take a toll on our pay. So it's very, very, it's very, very skilled. It's not neutral, and it's very, very inefficient way of communicating value or exchanging value between a person and the other. And so then we have the gold, we have the precious metals, and of course, following that and following those, we have the fiat currencies, which are best known as our paper money, controlled and I mean printed and controlled by the central banks. Um, so that actually is the picture of money. And so we begin to have gold and precious metals as money, which in fact could be dated back to the Roman Empire, where we have several emperors, and of which Julius Caesar and the oligarch of his days had ed collision, because those who were, minting the gold could define the health of an economy at that time, since they can define the supply of these gold and the scarcity of the same. And of course, scarcity of this gold currency will explain how the economy is already tilting into recession, and the enormous supply of the same would imply, oh fine, we are having a booming or a great economy. And so there were many things that really led to the killing of Julius Caesar. And of course, according to historians, one of which is that he wanted his face, and of course, which I think he did, he wanted his face to be on the coin, and that was the beginning point of his fall, because those who were printing or minting the money, they call it minting, they felt he was already wanting to instigate a power contention between them and him as the one who define or own the economy. Either ways, we just say all of those to say it really moved from the barter system to the gold system, and there is a way, the one gold or two gold coins, and a sizable unit of gold would be used to estimate for this. I mean, if you are familiar with certain texts, you would know the statement of how a lady going by the name Mary broke a bottle of oil, and some persons in that text or scripture in the Bible says this is worth a year's pay. At that point, certain values already been attributed to certain items, and we can at that time begin to say, okay, this is worth this and this is worth this. In a sense, the picture of money as a medium of value exchange is already being attributed to certain items that are creating a neutral ground for fair and equitable transactions. So finance literally shifted from the barter system to the gold or precious metal system, of course, to the fiat, which we are having right now in our days. And it's to, of course, let us know that the shift that we are currently experiencing from the fiat to the digital, era, and literally cryptocurrencies, which are the frontiers of that, is something that could be dated back to a lot of centuries ago. I believe that's very much clear. And so we can actually agree with me that money is something that our instinct and psyche creates. It's not something that has been, it's not something that would always be. It's something that instinctively and in a very funnily subconscious agreed state, we believe this is worth this. And it's funny that that's the truth. And so money is at best defined as a subconsciously agreed upon item or substance or element used as a medium, right, of value exchange between a buyer and a seller in a marketplace. That is the definition of money, and it's the truth. So if we all agree to use, let's say, I don't know if we have an example. Let's just use something totally out of the box. Maybe let's say we agree to use leaves that are freshly green from a tree as a certain amount of currency. Let's say the leaf of a cashew tree, the small one goes for five naira, and then the small one of, let's say, a a cedar tree, which is very scarce to get, goes for 1,000 naira. Everybody must come to that point of, subconsciously and psychologically agreeing to that for that to be our medium of exchange. In either ways, we definitely are communicating value, and we all know what we are trying to do or say, though not saying that with what we already have, with the currencies we have. So when you see someone holding 1,000 naira, we literally attribute, oh, this person has more purchasing power to get more things in the market compared to his contemporary or his counterpart who is probably holding 200 naira note of same size, same length, and possibly same color. But we just know that this one is not commanding same purchasing power. And so we're just bringing us to the point of the fact that money is much more of the mind than it is of what do we call it now, of research or whatever. But it's more, it's a mental state of value we attributed to that element or that substance or that material. Now, that said, I think we need to come to look at the role of financial markets. Why is the market existing? You would want to question that. Do we always have markets when we talk about finance or money? Yes, we always have markets. In fact, it's best called a marketplace. The truth is, prior to we thinking of crypto exchanges, which are, them, Binance, BitGet, Bybit, HTX, Get.io, Bitfinex, different crypto.com, Coinbase, different crypto exchanges. We definitely have the marketplace for different other financial instruments. There are marketplaces for trading for forex market, for instance. There are marketplaces for trading commodities. There are marketplaces for buying stocks and shares of companies. All right. We all know who stockbrokers are. There are marketplaces for almost every financial instrument. Take, for instance, let's go back to some things that are very relatable. Let's look at you going to the market. You want to buy oil, you would definitely go to a marketplace. It might not be a public marketplace, or it could definitely be a private marketplace. Whenever you go around your street somewhere close to you to get the quick 5 or 1 unit of spaghetti you get, that is a private, would I call it a private, kind of a private marketplace. And I would use certain things to bring certain illustrations so we can understand. And you might not have so many people going to the place that is close to you, but when you go to the public marketplace, you get more people trooping into the market, purchasing things. But either ways, a marketplace exists to connect buyers and sellers together, right? So the woman who owns that shop close to you can best be seen as the market maker. Now, that may not be part of the slide, but the truth is, it's important we also mention this. Who are market makers? So market makers are those who profit off the buying and selling. They provide the services for you to buy and also sell to them. And so you sell to them less, right? Because they must buy cheaper, and they sell to you more, so they can profit off that. So those are market makers. So they have the advantage of connection. They have the advantage of liquidity. Liquidity is best known as money. That's just the meaning of liquidity. So they have both advantages. So I want you to picture the woman who is, staying close to your house, and she sells all the basic food items that you'll be in need of. And for some reasons, you certainly had someone come. What do I call it now? Maybe you have an occasion, and some persons were bringing a lot of milk and Bonvita and all these I don't know what they call them now. All these ampas, right? They brought a lot of ampas for you, and you have all of those stuffs. And then they were just so much. It looked as though you were selling them, and you literally don't have interest in all of those. For some reasons, you felt, let me just go give Mama Nkechi, who sells this thing close to my house, and you took about 5 amperes filled with Golden Moon, all those beverages, all of that. You took them there, and then you give them that. Mankichi, I need cash, I need money. I wouldn't want all of these, and I don't know if you would really want them. She was like, oh, my supplier have not even brought some of the things I'd ordered, and I've actually paid that money. I'm not even having money on me, but what can I do to you? You're a good woman. Oh. And then you're like, I need a month, because actually you were at the mercy of her in the situation because she needed money. And you literally know you can't go marketing, because who would come by to you in the first place? You're not a marketplace. People don't know you to sell stuffs. And so you can be so sure she would never get those things expensive from you. she'll get it from you at a rate that would, the truth is, a rate that would benefit her more. And it can be so funny that she might eventually sell those things back to you. So I'm saying this to just allow us to see the place of marketplaces. When you go to the market, you're satisfied with the things you get. That's the truth. Most times, most of us going to the market, we go there to buy. But then there is a place of selling the market. The truth is this: you can only take advantage of market pricing when you have certain informations. And I'll give an example. You were, for example, this same story I painted, you were aware that Cowbell and those who are supplying Bonvita cocoa, there's going to be a crash in cocoa because there was a sudden boom in cocoa Q4 last year, and of course that I'm telling us a real story. Cocoa went up terribly, so much that those I knew around who had farming cocoa were just spending their money anyhow. Some of us might not be like that. Anyways, so you add this information that people, the price of cocoa and then the supply of the same will just go down, right? And you just sort of thought of it that okay, it's sort of it that okay, maybe it's a good time to keep your ampas that you took to Mankichi when she was telling you this price, and you went away. You didn't even tell her. You gave her price 1,000 naira for almost everything, and then she kept on saying she wouldn't get those things, and then you left her. And then you keep those things because you had the information. So suddenly next week, because you know that the supply of cocoa was definitely low, right? The price of all these, beverages will definitely skyrocket. That's very simple math. And so because of this, she suddenly realized that this lady says she wants to sell these ampas, beverages to me for 1,000 naira per pack, and my supplier is bringing them for me at a wholesale price of 1,200 naira. You can be so sure she will come begging you, right? Now, this at this point gives you the leverage of selling higher. Why am I saying all this? I'm painting this scenario. I'm painting this scenario so we can relate with the fact that yes, there are instances when we can take advantage of making better sale, right, in the marketplace. That's only if we have certain information at our disposal. That's why we are learning all of this, so we can have understanding of we have knowledge of the market, know certain places we have to look out for important market informations, and I'll try to use all of this to make the most decision, right, very much objectively, clear decisions around our finances, either for financial trading, investing, or in fact saving. Because I must tell us something for fact that when it comes to the crypto market, it's not just a place where you go trade. No, you can also buy currencies like stocks and leave them to appreciate in price, as well as you can also save in cryptocurrencies. I'm going to be talking about that because some people think crypto is just for you to go trade Bitcoin, to go trade Dogecoin, to go trade Ethereum. No, you can as well buy euro and keep in crypto. You can as well lock up US dollars in crypto and earn 10% APY in a period of a year. There are just so many opportunities, but it's important for us to have a total, right, purview of the market so we can know why the market exists in the first place. That's the truth. The scenarios we just painted is just to open our understanding to the possibilities that lies within the marketplace. So definitely, in summary, the marketplace exists to connect buyers and sellers together. It gives you the opportunity to indeed enable investment, and of course grow your wealth, like I'd mentioned. And of course, it's a place where liquidities are being provided for businesses and individuals. People are not aware that people could take loan from Binance. You can take loan, but it's not like the cash loan that I think has been trending so much around Nigeria of recent. So please don't head over to Binance and say I'm going to take $1,000 loan. Brother, that may not be good. All right, I'm just being sarcastic anyways. So just to let us know that yes, if you have established good credit rating, good funding ratings, these exchanges or platforms can give you loans, right, to go around certain things you want to do. So the crypto market, unlike the forex market, opens 24/7, like 24 hours in 7 days, like it goes like that. There's been never a time the crypto market says, hey, we're taking a break. No, there's no break. Even when the US goes on, I don't know whatever break it is. I think of recent they just inaugurated the Charlie Kirk holiday for October the 13th. So yeah, no matter the holiday, so there would be no break taken for the crypto markets. The forex markets, yes, we take break. Let's say, for example, the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is a body of policy, making, institution in the United States responsible for defining, raising interest rate or cutting interest rate in the United States. So I'm saying all this to just say something that the crypto market, no matter what has happened, will never go and break. That's the truth. That's the advantage it has, which is good and sometimes could be bad in the open market. All right. Now let's look at another important part of our discussion, which is the overview of the financial market. I really hope I'm communicating. And please, if you do not understand certain parts before I move on to the next slide, you can always, motion by raising up your hand virtually, and then I'll definitely understand I need to go over that part again. But I think we understand what the marketplace is for, and we got that very well. Meanwhile, am I communicating well? I hope this is sounding well. We were not having so much time to do much testings. I again want to apologize for that. Okay, great. All right, so let's talk about the overview of financial markets. All right, we've already done a bit of introduction about this, right? When we were talking just a few moments ago about the financial markets, introducing us to it and the role of the financial market. So types of market, there are the traditional markets, yes, and of course there are the crypto market. Traditional markets include stocks, of course, bonds, of course, examples of which include IOUs, indices, forex, shares, commodities, and certificates of deposits that people use to generate interests in the United States. That may not apply to us in Nigeria, but I think we all are aware of stocks, forex, mutual funds. They're all examples of traditional markets. Of course, commodities, gold, oil, different ones, which also include sugar, cocoa. I mean, people don't know that you can actually buy cocoa. Right. Yes, you can. In the financial market. I mean, digitally. So yes. So, and I'm saying this right now. I'm giving us pure alpha. Cocoa is part of my watch list. When I'm saying watch list means the list of financial assets I'm putting on my radar to get on. Meanwhile, I would give us heads up. I think I've been saying this. A lot of people around me are aware that it's best you just save up your fund in yuan, which is the Chinese yuan, CNY, because the truth is theirs will be the world power, and their purchasing might will be stronger than the US economy. There's nothing we can do about that, and this is already me giving us heads up. So it's best for us to intentionally get digital version of the Chinese yuan, saving them up, because there will be global financial crash that would wash the bloated stocks that are in the US economy, and then would have enough time fall of 2026 to get back into both international stocks and the Nigeria stocks. And so that's a quick tip that might not be found in the slide. All right, so the crypto market, which is unlike the traditional markets, present a lot of opportunities. For example, there we have a technology called the blockchain. I would introduce you shortly the blockchain, even if this is not part of this discussion, so we can have a bit of understanding of the blockchain. So let me just talk about the blockchain shortly before I continue. So you can picture, I think I often use something like this. You can picture this book, something like this. In this book in my hand, like a journal, you have just imagine this a ledger. Imagine this a ledger, right? And you have series of transactions that you're recording. Just picture a thrift collector, a ledger, and as a thrift collector, you cannot go doing thrift without having the names of the person you want to be collecting the money from. That's me explaining the blockchain. They are the time that they are placing their deposit and the expected time they will take their tomakwajo, that they will pack the whole thing that's is expected to be theirs after the cycle of that savings. And so you have everything dated. There is S/N, the numbers of the persons that this thrift collector is interfacing with. And so everything is dated. And as you are dropping your money, you are signing. And then when it's time to withdraw, you're also going to be signing. It's as simple as that. Why am I saying this, right? You literally can be so sure once this thrift collector is done with page one, he or she would flip to the next page, write the same heading, which includes SNY name, deposit, sign, withdraw, sign, literally. And everything is going to be like right there. And everyone's writing is unique, because you can be so sure that the name, the writing, the signature will confirm if it is Mrs. Onyeka or Madam Peter, I don't know whatever name it is, that is making that deposit or withdrawing that money. So why am I saying this? I'm saying as a page is filled with transactions, deposits, and withdrawal, and she's flipping to the next, and another page get filled. She keeps on. I mean, he or she, this strips collector, keeps on building compilation of pages of transaction. So blockchain is simply chains of block in which transactions have been filled. It is called a distributed ledger technology or a decentralized ledger technology that records transactions and keep signatures of all transactions taken, including timestamp. So the blockchain is just like a big ledger where every transaction, either it is savings or it is swapping or it is withdrawing or it is staking, those are actions done on the blockchain. So there is staking, there is savings, there is borrowing, there is lending, there is swapping, which includes buying and selling. It's swapping. So, and of course, there is deposits. All these transactions, right, are kept within a block, right? Which is just like a page of a book recorded, and of course, they are signed by whoever it is that is executing that transaction from their wallet. You might be asking, how did they do their signature? Is it by using pen to sign? No, it is by their wallet. So in the world of cryptocurrencies, everyone's identity is in a sense anonymous. I'm using the word in a sense, quote unquote, because the thing with which you can identify yourself in the block of transaction is your wallet, which is your wallet address. It could be from a centralized exchange, CEX, a centralized exchange, CEX. Examples are the ones I mentioned earlier: Binance, Bybit, BitGet, CoinW. Those are centralized exchange. When you hear centralized, you just simply know they are within some bodies of legal structure and they are controlled. Yeah. Of course, they are open 24/7, but then you can be so sure there are certain licenses and certain expectations of um, you know compliances that both the user and then the owner must get into, right? For example, you cannot use a centralized exchange like Bybit, BitGet without you doing your KYC, which is putting your name, taking a picture of who you are, so we can be so sure we're not interacting with some money launderer, and then you also putting in your your means of identification, either it's your NIN, BVN, or your passport, right? So those are centralized exchanges, right? At this juncture, when I'm talking about the overview of the financial market, I think it's all right. So I just got an information, which is we'll be moving to this link in a few minutes. Apologies. So I think that would happen. So we can quickly wrap off our discussions. So in essence, centralized exchanges will require you to do all this legal work for you, excuse me, to interact with them. But decentralized exchanges, which includes Uniswap, 1inch, Pancake Swap, Monkey Swap. What else again do we have there? Solana, Radium, Jupiter Exchange, um, Meteora. Yeah, all of those exchanges definitely gives you the opportunity to make swaps and transactions without being known, without revealing your identity, without, in fact, putting your name anywhere, right? So I'm saying this to say either you're using a centralized exchange or a decentralized exchange, you have your transactions recorded on the blockchain. And so this leads us to knowing that the blockchain, number one, is a decentralized ledger technology, a very vast one. Number two, cryptocurrencies themselves exist right on the blockchain. So the blockchain is the technology that powers the existence of cryptocurrency. Meanwhile, 2008 financial crash that happened just some few years ago was responsible in a sense, quote unquote, or let's say is a catalyst that led to the launch of cryptocurrencies. The pseudonymous founder of the Bitcoin, which is the Bitcoin blockchain and the Bitcoin technology, who goes by the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. His identity is not known, and it seemed to have vanished. He came about the need for cryptocurrencies and a blockchain technology because he felt the current financial system is totally, bloated and totally, how do I use it now? It's like a scam, right? Because the banks could just give, order, like the president could give order for the bank to print money. Take, for instance, what happened to Emefiele upon the the transitioning of power from Mohamed Buhari, the Nigeria president, to the incoming or the incumbent president, Bats. So we are aware that Emefiele printed lots of money, right? And that's very typical of central banks. They can print money, and of course, when there are so much of those supplies, it's going to be impacting the purchasing power of the ones in circulation, right? So it's important for us to state that the reason why the blockchain got deployed or launched is because Satoshi felt there's a need for us to engage mathematical function and the basic understanding of supply and demand in economics to retain the purchasing power, cutting or closing the door for all forms of manipulatory activity that could be done backdoor by the central bank, system, while giving a fair advantage and opportunity for everyone to, in a sense, preserve their wealth through a deflationary system, a system that you can print more, but can grow on account of attributed value, right, and demand that is placed on the limited supply that is already in circulation. So that is the idea behind the deployment of blockchain technology and Bitcoin. Okay, so I was explaining something about transactions being recorded, right? Every transaction is recorded on the blockchain. So Bitcoin is first a blockchain technology before it is a cryptocurrency, right? Ethereum is first a blockchain technology before it's a cryptocurrency. Now, please take note, this does not apply to every cryptocurrency that we have, because unfortunately, as of today, we have over 10 million, what am I saying, over 20 million cryptocurrencies. It wasn't like that in 2020. I don't think it was like that in 2023. Of course, it all shot up to that point when people can now create cryptocurrency, because you can create cryptocurrency with just $1 or $2 on certain platform. They call them meme coins, or you can in fact create good coins with just $2. Things have really evolved, and the cost of creating coins have really dropped. It doesn't take so much to create coins. It doesn't. And so I'm saying this to say something, which is the fact that, see, there are a lot of evolutions that's happened to the cryptocurrency market, and the blockchain is the technology that has brought about this solution of cutting out bad players, such as the government doing backdoor games with the printing of money and making the purchasing power of the one in circulation a mess. The blockchain has curbed that. How investment bankers can go backdoor to meet those who are corporate, those who are local banks, to just take large sum of money to do mortgages, to do trade. All of those things already been dealt with. Why? Because the blockchain is very transparent and everybody can see your transaction. You can't hide anything, right? It's not just some big ledger you have in some doc and in some, in some, what's it called? In some, what do you call this right now? In some shelves, right? It's all online. You can just have to do some few clicks, do a bit of research, and then you'll be able to plot who sent this and who sent that. Okay, someone is saying something. Okay, yes, go ahead. Excellent. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, are we all here? Can we go ahead? All right. So okay. So apologies for the break in communication. I don't, I don't. I want to say we're sorry about that. So yeah. Okay. So we were saying something, which is that every transaction, right, that we execute are all stored on the blockchain. I mean, if you go take a transaction, if you go buy something in the market, I mean, only in some, yeah, I think it's very, common, yeah, in some very good grocery store or supermarkets that whenever you get something, you just have to drop, they have to put them in the scanner and of course get them scanned. For example, what's it called? I've forgotten some of these stores now, right now. Yeah, the ones in the Keja Mall. What are their names, right? I forgot. Just everything. Yeah, everything just went off my head right now. All these stores, like what do they call them? All these supermarkets. The one, like for example, the one in Ikeja Mall, the one in is this super? Yeah, Shoprite. Yes, Shoprite. Yes, VMAX. All these. Just right, exactly. So whenever you get inside, right, you get some stuff, you get some bread, you pick some drinks, all of that. They would have those things scanned, right? And then the the system will let you know the costs, and then you make your payment. They'll generate a receipt for you, right? Ah, and then before you in fact leave that store, the security man at the post would have your receipt. He could maybe sign it or maybe tear it to make it say, "Hey, transaction done, no coming back to claim the same goods you have paid for." And so this is very clear. Why? Because when you come around into the blockchain to make transactions, to what do you call it right now, to buy a coin, to sell a coin, to stake a coin, to borrow a coin, to lend a coin, because all I'm saying are realities. You can have your coin and you don't even need them. You can just borrow some persons. When you borrow the person, you're not borrowing for free. The person is going to pay you interest, right? Because you might have $10,000 and the person needs, $4,000, and then this $4,000 this person is in need of is urgently perhaps to process some transaction. Of course, you wouldn't, your coin would not, or your dollars would not be taken away from your wallet by the blockchain technology without the person putting some collateral. The person can put collateral as Bitcoin and say, you know what, I have this Bitcoin, I don't need them, I don't want to sell my Bitcoin. You have stable coin costs. So now I'm going to be diverting to different things after I'm done talking about the blockchain, because there are different types of cryptocurrencies, right? So there are stable coins, which are coins that are stable. It's simple. So there are stable coins because they are pegged to a certain currency or fiat. So examples include the ENGN, the E Naira. It is stable coin because it is pegged to have 1:1 value as the Nigerian Naira. I think upon the last conversion I made just a few moments ago, a dollar is selling for 1,480 or 470 naira, right? In the marketplace of P2P, or they call it peer to peer. Now, it's important to state something that, like the example was given, you have this amount of dollars, you don't need them, and someone wants to borrow. The system found that you have staked your money. The system, and since you've given the permission for anyone wanting to borrow, system allows the person to borrow the money. Since you are the lender, that one is the borrower. The person locked up his collateral with, let's say, Bitcoin that it's having, it doesn't want to sell. And so you lending out $1,000, you're going to be earning some interest because the person needs those amount of money. And so those are functions in the blockchain. But I'm saying all these transactions are recorded on the blockchain like a ledger. It records them. The amount you locked, or you staked or you lent, the time that happened, and it also generates a receipt for you. The receipt that has been generated upon every transaction, especially the ones done on decentralized platforms, are called transaction hash. HASH. So transaction hash is the receipt or the proof of transactions that have been executed, recorded, and stored on the blockchain. And the blockchain, don't forget, it's a distributed or decentralized ledger technology. Just to clear the air, the technology system or the blockchain system that the central banks will be using, or the CBDCs will be using to launch in era, are not public blockchains. So the blockchains I described as decentralized digital ledger systems are public blockchains. So there are private blockchains, and those ones are used for either companies, all right, or governments like the central banks. They're not public ledger. Those who work within that system, yes, they can see all there is in the transactions. I mean, you should already expect that. While those who are not working in the system can't. But the ones that are public, like the Bitcoin blockchain, is a public blockchain. Ethereum blockchain is a public ledger blockchain, and Binance Smart Chain is a public blockchain. But of course, those are examples of that in the crypto world. So I was saying something earlier, which is that Bitcoin is first a blockchain before it's a coin. So there is the Bitcoin coin. So what's the difference between a coin and a token? A coin is the cryptocurrency that is directly linked to a blockchain. Bitcoin is the coin on the Bitcoin blockchain. Ethereum is the coin on the Ethereum blockchain. BNB, you must have seen that a lot of times. Some persons post about that on your statuses. BNB is a coin on the Binance Smart Chain. Solana is a coin on the Solana blockchain. Other examples would include Ethereum, or I think I mentioned that already. I'm trying to pick one or think of some. Okay, SUI, right? It's a coin on the SUI blockchain. And so you might ask yourself, why do we have so much blockchains? So Bitcoin transaction speed was terribly slow. When I'm saying terribly slow, of course, you can be so sure it's faster than its average Western Union transfer from a third world country to another country, or from a country to another. Some Western Union transfer takes 3 business days, and in fact some goes as high as 7 business days. I mean, some of us are aware of that. So I'm saying that Bitcoin transaction, it happens in a day. I think I cannot say verbatim for a fact how long it takes right now. Maybe it's an hour or two, but yes, let's say about an hour. But Ethereum came with a faster TPS, which is transaction per seconds, a faster TPS. So you can literally see evolution within the blockchain itself. So Bitcoin existed to curb those, issues I described earlier, but then it has its own downsides, right? It's not, it's not, it's not having a faster transaction. What else again? Um, I'm trying to bring out the cons in Bitcoin for which Ethereum came around, because Ethereum came around 2017, and I think the fall of that same year, BNB from the Binance Smart Chain also came around. So, for example, Bitcoin all-time low sits at $0.07. You can also go to Coin Market Caps. I'm going to mention something. I believe we're taking some notes. Don't forget, it's a 2 days crash course. I want to do so much in a short time. You must actually try taking some notes, or perhaps possibly you revert back to the recordings on YouTube. So Bitcoin was, at an all-time low. When I'm saying all-time low, that's the lowest market price of that asset of $0.07. And this was at 2010. I think 2010, 2011. Maybe tomorrow we'll look at the chart and I would show you that if I can bring that to my remembrance. So it was that low. That implies that $10, right? Dividing $10 by 0.07, that implies that you can get how many units of Bitcoin with $10? A couple of units, right? A sizable units over 10. Let's do the math. 10 divided by 0.07. That means with $10 you would get 142.85 units of Bitcoin. And of course, that's a unit between 2010 and 2015, which is about 15 years. And the current market price of Bitcoin, when last I checked, $105,000. So that implies that $10 is now currently worth 15 million United States dollars. Yeah, nothing more than that. So why? Because the lowest price of Bitcoin was at that price, and those who got in at that time, holding on to this time, have that units. And the truth I'm going to tell us about finance is, please don't have an instant mindset when it comes to finance. You want to invest in stocks, invest in crypto, trade them. Don't have an instant mindset. I'm not saying there are no, opportunities or moments where you can actually make instant money. Yes, there is, and I'm not trying to cover that up. No, it's very, very possible. There are aspects of crypto like that, but it's good to have a long-term perspective when it comes to coming around the financial market. so that you can be a long-term player, right? So you can stay there for a longer time, right? It's important. I say that. I think Warren Buffett was one saying the most of his wealth, right, came from the Coca-Cola shares. He bought millions of this, I think 400 millions, right? And made a lot of money from that, right? It's about long term, right? It was, I mean, I think literally said in the video that Coca-Cola only sold about 27 bottles. I mean, that's like I remember less than 15 essence in a year. And so getting in was extremely risky because they don't have very good balance sheets. They don't have very clear or sweet financial report where you have to read and see how much of dividends they're going to be promising, how much of earning you will earn. All of those are not there, right? So there is a measure of risk you must actually take. That's the truth when it comes to investing in the financial market. I'm just saying that. So I have explained to us what coins are. Coins are literally the cryptocurrencies directly linked to a blockchain, the ones that are, you know, primarily and natively built by that blockchain, right? Then other coins existing on that same blockchain are called tokens. Tokens tokens So Solana is a coin on Solana blockchain, and every other coin built on Solana blockchain, example is BOM, example is Maneki, example is PEP. All of those, they are meme coins I'm mentioning. All those are coins launched on the Solana blockchain, but they are tokens. They are tokens simply because they are not natively built natively created from or natively created from the Solana blockchain itself. So, and of course, you would note coins more because they would almost be bearing the name of the blockchain. Is that simple? All right. I hope we're clear on this. So the crypto market opens 24/7, and of course, there are coins, there are tokens. Bitcoin is one of a coin. I mean, it's a coin that exists in its own state itself because it's the first coin. It's seen as a store of value. The Securities and Exchange Commission of the United States and certain countries, including El Salvador, have accepted Bitcoin as a worthy investment financial asset, right? And so the United States, I think they have about $9 billion. I hope I got the figure right. If you can also confirm, $9 billion investment in Bitcoin. Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategies, has billions of dollars in Bitcoin and has been buying a lot of them for a couple of years. So I'm saying Bitcoin is more like a digital version of gold. That is where Bitcoin exists. Then every other coin other than Bitcoin are called altcoins. In essence, you can just split altcoins to two. So you have alt-coin, which simply means alternative coins. Every other coin other than Bitcoin are simply called altcoin. I believe after this class, you should be able to tell some friends, oh, I got some altcoin. And, those who don't know will don't know. They wouldn't know that. I say, which one is altcoin? Is this some very altcoin? It's not a altcoin. No, they are just altcoin, alternative coins. And you already know what altcoins are, right? So, and of course, I think that's all there is with the overview of the financial market. If you've got any question, let me know. We have a few more moments. I think we've gone about an hour right now. Just a few more moments, I will be done. I think we already know the key differences between the traditional markets and the crypto markets. On the traditional market, for you to get some stocks, I mean, especially in the old times, you just have to walk into some stock brokerage firm and then register with your name. Then you would sign the number of shares you want to buy, and then they'll give you your certificate for the stocks or the shares. And then when you want to come sell, you've got to look for some buyers, or because you want to liquidate that stock. And then you need to walk back in and then with your certificate held and then go claim your money. For example, I don't know if you know Cosmas Maduka, what is the chairman and CEO of Coscharis enterprise. He talked about some stocks or some shares he held. He bought with, I think, maybe less than a naira. I can't remember how much he got it, but he sold it at a very high price. So the expectation of every one of us entering the financial market is to buy low. And this question is a guiding, I don't want to call it a mantra, but a guiding litmus test when you are trying to analyze the market. I mean, we should be logical and not emotional when we're looking at the financial market. Don't let anyone hype you into nonsense. Don't. Oh, it's already going, it's buying. Don't be jumped. Don't be pumped by that. One of the important financial lesson we need to know is buy low, sell high. The second I'm going to be giving us also when it comes to the financial market is buy the fear, sell the news. When people are so scared because they are only scared because that's terribly gone down and they weren't expecting it to come that low, that's when you should buy, right? You buy the fear, you sell the news. What's selling the news? It simply means you're selling it when it is being spoken too much of. When everybody's talking about it, hey, I got this, oh, Nigerian stocks, oh, be careful. Watch it and walk away. Give it time. It might not drop immediately. It might take a whole month or a quarter. That doesn't mean, right? And I'm going to be saying this to us that oftentimes in the financial markets, your instincts are right. So don't be emotional. So the key difference between the stock market, I mean the traditional market and the crypto market is the timing of trading, how decentralized the crypto market is, and of course it's extremely volatile. Take for instance what happened last week. Yes, we give a trade call. You can actually check our community that Bitcoin was going to be selling for 124,000. We gave the call and people sold. We sold. And of course, it was a terrible, terrible, terrible nuke. The market went south. I mean, it went down as expected, but a lot of liquidation. $19 billion liquidated, right? A lot of, and some people even lost their life to that unfortunate event. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because you just have to tell yourself the market is extremely volatile, and whatever measures you can take to ensure you manage your risk is what you must do. There are things you can control, right? And there are things you can control. You might not be able to control the market, but you can control how much you can afford to lose to the market. And that's where I'm going to be talking. I'm just going to introduce us to a bit of risk management today, and then we might talk more of much of that later on. With risk management includes you knowing the amount of your earning you want to expose, and I'm using the word expose because that's how it's best defined. It's called exposure. How much do you have exposed to the financial market, or having known the fact that there are volatility is it simply means the rate at which the market can change in price over a given period of time. So it could change from $10 to $50. I mean, that's the good one we always love. But of course, can also change from $10 to 0.005. Take for instance, I made a post on X. You can go check out the coin IOTX on Binance. This coin got to $0.00. Now that's very crazy, right? It got $0.000, and of course it went back to 0.014. Good bounce back. I was telling a friend, if just imagine we got use $100 to buy at 0.00001, we would get million units of that coin and be able to sell. And so this is the beauty of volatility and the beast in volatility. The story of the beauty and the beast. So those are the two sides of volatility. Now, that said, I think I would love to continue with our discuss. So trading fundamentally. Okay. Trading fundamentally, what does this mean? What are trading fundamentals? Trading is already best defined as buying and selling. So the truth you must always tell yourself, especially having understood that you must define the amount you are exposing to the financial market. Let's say you are earning, $100 per month. You want to say you are setting aside emergency funds. You are setting aside the amount to invest. I'm telling you something, no matter how small invest. One of the things I'm learning in a course I'm taking recently is $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. It's worth more. It's not too small. Invest it. Invest it. Especially if you don't have so much you're earning. Invest it. You will understand what you're doing to yourself by delaying gratification, by locking up in investment. Sometimes we don't go the same way, but I'm telling you that you are getting better understanding of the market, a better understanding of the market, and you are literally paving a way for wealth. I think there's a scripture like that in Ecclesiastes. It says, cast your bread upon many waters. We know that some of us were Christians. I'm sorry, apologies for those who are not Christians. And upon many days, you would get it back. You wouldn't get it back the same way it is. That's change. It must have changed taste because it's more sweeter at that time when you want to eat it. It will definitely be more sweeter. But then, after many days, it'll have changed taste, but you can picture it as increased in size. At least that's what we want to get. So please diversify. You can diversify from high risky asset to low risk asset and mid-risk asset, right? High risk like crypto, low risk like a medium risk like stocks, and low risk like things that are physical assets, which include some portion of land, some portion of maybe some stores or whatever it is. Some persons are crowdfunding to do some farming, whatever it is. So like that, it's good to diversify. It's good to and all of this come from the portion of your earning. Let's say $100, you are separating $20 for investment, so you can spread them across board those high risk, medium risk, and low risk investment depending on the proportion and percentage you want to divide them, very importantly. And of course, you set up your emergency fund, right? All of those are backdoor discussions, but I think they really matters when it comes to us preparing to enter the financial market. And don't tell yourself that you don't have so much to invest, even if it's $1 tells if you do that every month. It's about discipline. It's about the discipline. All right. So we know what trading is. It's about buying and selling to make profit. But of course, don't forget, sometimes people make losses, and losses are made because of wrong decisions or probably poor risk management that are set in place. So there are two types of trading when it comes to cryptocurrencies, basically, especially on centralized exchanges. So there are the spot trading. We'll see more practical of this tomorrow. Let's just do this overview today, and then we'll do practical tomorrow. There is the spot trading where you buy an asset, you own it. It's like you're buying stocks. This one does not come with. In fact, when that incident happened where IOTX, it's the native token of the Internet of Things ecosystem, IOTX. When that incident happened, the unit of token the person has might in fact get to zero. I literally wrote that this coin flatlined. It might get to $0.000. But the truth is, the unit is holding, maybe it's holding 5 million units of IOTX coin. That unit will remain the same. And so when the bounce back happens, the value would definitely appear. So stock or spot trading is like you're buying stock in crypto. Just think of spot as stocks. You buy, you own, you keep. And you can always hold those units that you're having to sell at an higher price later on. So that's true. That's very, very true. Then you have futures trading. Futures trading is like it's not like it's a contract trading. It is like you having $50 and you want to take advantage of the upward movement of a particular market and you want to make more profit. Let's say your $50, if you had bought the spot of Bitcoin, you would need to hold for you to get $10 profit, you need to, let's say the price of Bitcoin is sitting at $5,000, right? Your $50 will get you with the price of Bitcoin at $5,000 will get you 0.01 units of Bitcoin. For you to get a $10 profit on Bitcoin, right, with your $50 bought on spot, take note spot, that implies Bitcoin must have appreciated in value. Perhaps it's now trading at $6,000. That implies that the 0.01 unit you have, right, is now valued at $60, separating your principal, your capital, from the current price of, from the current worth of that 0.01 unit. You'll definitely be having a $10 gross profit. Right now, that's very, very much clear. Now, that said, I think it's important for me at this point to state that the futures trading, on the other hand, can give you more profits. Now, because let's say for instance you have the same $50 and the price of Bitcoin also still sit at $5,000, and you knew instinctively or maybe technically or fundamentally that the market is going to appreciate in value, and you want to take advantage of that. Let's say you want to make a profit of $100 over your $50, which is literally 100%. Which is literally like 200%. So what you want to do is you want to borrow funds, and borrowing funds is like the access and an allowance that crypto exchanges gives to traders to use leverages. So leverages are simply their gateway to borrow funds from the exchange. So they could give you a 10 times leverage, a 20 times leverage. And what does that do? A 10 times leverage, I would show us pictures of that when we are going to be trading tomorrow. A 10 times leverage means that your $50 will be multiplied by 10x. But in reality, right, which is a $500 worth. So I'm going to calculate that right now. So, but before I go into that, that $50 now worth $500. Ow, that means the exchange has borrowed you the remaining $50. So you had $50 and you were allowed to do a 10 times leverage, isn't it? So that means that your $50 is now worth $500 in the market. But what really happened is that the exchange borrowed you. They borrowed you for $50 for your $50 to now look like 500, and that's why you can go make bigger profit when the market moves in your direction. Of course, every borrowing comes with an interest. You pay interest on that. It might be very small, but you pay interest. So, which implies that when you with that 10 times leverage on your $50 get on Bitcoin, you buy or you purchase that at $5,000. That implies you are essentially buying Bitcoin with $500 in place of the $50 you actually add in the market. And that means you will be able to get 0.1 unit of Bitcoin on like the $50 on spot, which only gets 0.01. And with the 0.1, if your analysis was right and the market went the way you had predicted, that implies that when the bigger market gets to $6,000, your $500 worth of trade, take note, worth of trade now is now $600 worth of trade. What now happens? If you separate or you do the differentiation, you would see that you would have a net profit of, 600 minus 500, you get $100 profit. So the exchange will take back the money they borrowed and, of course, their interest, and then you will have $100 or approximately $100 up to $100 as profit plus your $50, right? And so that is what leverage does. Leverage trade is a contract, or futures trade is a contract trade that allows you to use leverage, which is in essence a borrowed fund, to potentially have higher profit or more profits, or potentially have more losses. Take note, the way you would have profits in leverage trading also is, similar in calculation to the amount of potential losses you would also get. That's it. So, like the analogy you have on the screen, it says spot trading is like you owning a car, while futures is like you renting it with insurance, right? Yeah, so yeah, that's just a best analogy. You own the car, whatever damage that happens to that, you actually tell yourself it's yours, and then that's just it. But then future trading is like you're renting the car with insurance. The car is not yours, and then you're paying insurance, right? But of course, you can quickly use that to make a lot of money, right? Yeah, you can use that to make a lot of money. You can do some rides and then make a lot of money, and then you return it back without you paying for car, right? You're not paying for the car, right? But then those are the nuances that are, they are distinct, that are clear distinct between spot and futures trading. It's very interesting. You can actually try both, but it's very best whenever you're trading futures to use extremely low leverage, like 5x leverage or 3 times leverage. And of course, you apply your stop losses to manage your risk. We'll do more practicals tomorrow, trust me. So we need to go to the next part of our discussion: core principle in the financial market, supply and demand. You all definitely know that the reason why the market goes up is because there is increasing demand. Take, for instance, we only have 10 kegs of 25 liters of palm oil in a local market in Nigeria. The truth is this: when the supplier realizes that, oh, I'm the only one supplying palm oil and the current price of 25 liter is 50,000 naira, what I'm going to be doing is, because I'm the only one selling this thing, I think I'll love more profit. Who wouldn't love more profit? And because of that, that will drive price up. The market maker and the demanders, or the demanding users, or the demanding buyers, will cause the price of that limited supply to go up. But if in the case where we have so much supply of this 25 liters of palm oil in this market, you can be so sure that the price will either remain neutral, or after a long time break down. Like, it's going to come down, it's just going to nosedive, right? And that's because we have more supply. So demand, there is that which is known as the demand zone in the market. There is that which is known as the supply zone. When you in fact look at the market with this lens, you would understand some bit of analysis. You would see that there is a point where the market gets to, and then it suddenly begins to sell. And after some couple of times it gets back there, it begins to sell. That is a supply zone. At that particular level, they are called psychological level. The market definitely wants to keep selling at that price. So you can mark that point out. When we come to analysis, we'll show you that tomorrow, when we're about to take a trade. You could mark that point out and tell yourself, this is a supply zone, or a supply level. The market getting here wants to sell. They are either called supply or resistance level, and they are also called demand or supply or resistant, and they also call demand, or I've forgotten now. I'm so sorry. They call demand, or I just can't remember now. So supply is one where we have the resistant, and then you have in the demand, or I've forgotten what it's called now, the other name for demand zones. And anyways, it's just a zone where they are buying, where they are purchasing. That's the demand zone. So that's where price goes up. That's where price goes up. So the price of the market is simply the midpoint, is the balance. The price of a commodity, or the price of cryptocurrency, is the balance point, right, between the buyer and the seller. That's the truth. That's the price. So take for instance, if you go to the market, the same keg of oil that I just mentioned, that goes for 25 or 50,000 naira, 25 liters, one person could be selling for 50,000 naira, and that person could be selling for 51,000 naira, and that person could be selling for 49,500 naira, and that person could be selling for 51,500, and that person could be selling for 49,000 naira. If you average these prices together, I've just mentioned 4 prices, right? I mentioned 49,000. Please, let's pay attention. I've mentioned 49,500. I've mentioned 50,000, right? I've mentioned 51,500. So if you take this price and divide by 4, all right, I just did, right? The mid price is 50,000 naira, interestingly, right? That tells you that the price of oil, right, is 50,000 naira. And of course, it is the average weighted price between buyers and sellers. Don't forget, it's like a tug of war. I'm going to picture, I want you to picture that. So the buyers want the price to favor them, the sellers want the price to favor them. What do you think the buyers want? How do you think the buyers want the price to favor them? They want to sell, they want to buy lower. How do you think the sellers want to the price to favor them? They want to sell higher, right? So if it's a tug of war like that, like that, like that, and then the midpoint is where you have the price. Okay, so I think charts will help us to see this when we get to that point tomorrow. So, of course, Bitcoin rises and falls on account of supply and demand. That's the truth. And of course, there are also other things which are key factors which we might not go into now, but purely and principally, the supply and demand of the market economics is a basic contributing factor to the price of the Bitcoin and entire crypto market. I believe we understand this right now. So that's the truth. So your fundamental analysis, sentiment analysis, technical analysis all have the role they play to making you objectively come to a conclusion as to what the market is going to be doing at this point in time, and at this particular time. That's very clear. Now, let's quickly wrap things up. So this is a simple chart of gold. The current price of gold for 1 ounce, as at the last time I checked, is at around $4,300. I in fact saw a meme some moments ago. A lot of people are queuing in Vietnam to buy units of gold at all-time high. Funny enough, I knew when gold was at $2,000 and a little above in 2022, and now it has over 100%. Why? Because you have a lot of things that are already contesting with the sanity of the economy, which include the trade war and, of course, the threat of physical war between Israel and Iraq and several other neighboring countries in the Middle East, which also include the ongoing war that has already been, in a sense, silenced through the ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. I'm saying all of those are contributing factors to why people, whenever there are war, people just go. I'm going to tell us this for free. People go sell off their assets and buy gold and oil. I think that's a very good one. Oil, US oil, Brent crude oil, whatever oil, because those are important things. Metals and oils are of great importance in war. Metals and oil, they always be buying them. I hope you understand that, right? All right, now great. So this is a simple chart of gold from 970 till it's been up. Of course, if you look carefully into this chart, I wish I could, zoom this in so you can see. You would see that at some point it dropped. Look at this point, right? It was right at this top right here, and then it dropped to this low, right? It took a lot of years. If you pay attention, if you look at that, it's a lot of years, couple of years. This is 1986, and just let's add on, this is about 1990, right? And so it's from this top got to this low, and then in fact it got lower into 2001, right? And then it began to rise. Even though the financial crash happened somewhere around here in 2008, you see the price of gold. And of course, that's why gold is a safe haven when it comes to investing, of course, preserving your purchasing power. That's why investment is important, because if you use everything to it and none is being kept in all of these assets, you'd almost, because now, for instance, the dollar has lost 99% of its purchasing power between 1970 and now. You can go check that on Google or Gemini AI or ChatGPT. So the purchasing power of all this is reducing. Why? They are still printing the dollars now. Unfortunately for the US economy, when they print out the dollars, the Federal Reserve, which are owned by some group of oligarchs, they print these dollars and they lend it out to the government at an interest. So the government borrows this money from the Federal Reserve, which is an international entity, very funnily enough, and then they get it circulated, right? And so when you make any transaction, you buy, you sell, you're going to be paying taxes. For example, in the United States, to the IRS. Either you buy, if you are buying from a marketplace like a grocery store, you pay tax. Those that you also get those things from, they are paying taxes, right? And they're paying into the IRS. And so you can literally have the reasons to why the purchasing power of the dollar is really down that bad. The printing of the dollar, the policies that only benefits those who are in the Federal Reserve and those who are in the IRS, that is not benefiting the people, and all of those are reason why the purchasing power is really, really low. And of course, some persons will say it's overpopulation, but that's not the truth. So I'm just making us to see that over time, if one is very, very futuristic, the person will be thinking of investing more to retaining his or purchasing power as much as possible. You might not have so much profit, but at least your purchasing power has been reduced. Of course, that would be reflected in the number of, or the unit of the money you have. Take for instance, you have $1 million in 2005. If you put that same $1 million, in your account in 2025, 20 years ago, it would not be having the same effect. $1 million in 25 could possibly worth about $140 million today, right? And that's only possible if you lock it up later in gold that appreciate over time. So if you bring it down to 2025 and you get $140 million, it looks like you have profit. No, but yes, in a sense. But then when you look at the purchasing power that has depreciated over time, you would see that what you have just done in reality is that you have conserved your purchasing power, which could be reflected in, or which is being reflected in the increase in the dollars, in the worth of dollar you are literally having in some 20 years later. Right, so that's very important. So this is just for us to visualize the supply and demand levels that have been seen here. And I want to give us an assignment. When we are done, let's download Trading View. Number one, Trading View TV. Number two, Coin Market Cap. And so I believe we've all signed up on BitGet. Number one, Trading View. Number two, Coin Market Cap. I think that's very important. I think others will also be given to us tomorrow. Those two are very, very important. Coin Market Cap. There you can get a lot of news on the crypto market. You can get information to get you, informed ahead. By Trading View is for you to look at the market charts and see footprints of supplies and demand, and where most likely buy opportunities will be, and most likely where you'll be selling your opportunities. Those gives you information, right? Very, very important. Now let's go on to the next part, which is very, very critical for tomorrow's discussion. You need to download Trading View, like I mentioned, and then tomorrow I think we might have to go about walking us through the interface. But in any ways, you can literally pick up some videos on online to see a bit of how to set it up. But I think when you download it on your mobile devices or on your laptop, you can also use your laptop to just log in. You log in with your email, and then you will see the candlesticks, which are in fact necessary for us to analyze the financial market. I mean, with TradingView, you can access and analyze every stocks, including Nigerian stocks. Everything is there. Everything. Seplat, MTN, everything. So Presco, every of those stocks are there, Nigerian market or United States market. Every stocks are there, every commodities are there, every futures are there, every crypto are there, right? TradingView, and that's why it's a very important go-to tool. It's a very important go-to tool. Right, and I think more tips about how you can go about adding indicators. I don't use indicators as much, but then I would walk you through algorithm analysis tomorrow, just a bit briefing into that and what I look out for, how I come about taking a trade decision. Right, so I think that's all there is. Just set it up, sign up, and put your email after you've signed up, and then look around the charts, check around some of the icons, and of course bring your questions. The assignment I'm giving us is just as simple as that. Download TradingView and Coin Market Cap. Mr. Excellence, you can also help us type that in the comment section. Very important. I think we're almost done, and I don't know if we have any questions. That's why I'm trying to wrap things up quickly. I think tomorrow is going to be like the practical session. This is a portfolio. All right. Of course, if you know some idolos in Nigeria have so much more than this portfolio. I must say this, some of them, when I'm saying idolos, that's what they call themselves. They are into very, very unfortunate, very, very sad thing. They create coins and they take advantage of your people and sell those coins off on people. I can do that. I told us that. I mean, I can literally tell us the platform where you can create coin. But the truth is, you shouldn't create coin when there are no value you want to put around it. And that's the truth. That's why I think we should have this discipline and godliness. I'm sorry to say, but that's just the honest truth when it comes to things like this, right? You can make a lot of money when you create coin. You can be earning fees, right? That's the truth. It is very easy to lose one's value in the place of money. That's the truth. It's very easy to lose one's discipline, to lose one's how do I call it now? Sanctification, right? That's the truth. You would make the money, yes, but something is wrong. Something will be wrong. So yeah. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about how you go about this practical, and then you can download CoinGecko. Let me add that CoinGecko. Like you can see, these are coins that the person has purchased. You can be watching how your portfolio is performing. So you can literally add the coins you have purchased on CoinGecko, portfolio manager, and with this you'll be seeing how your coins are performing. CoinGecko is just like a version of Coin Market Cap. You can see the overview of the crypto market, the news around crypto markets, the updates right around crypto markets. All of those are really, really there on CoinGecko, right? But then you can also use it to add your tokens or your cryptocurrencies or your coins, so you can watch how they're performing over the month, over the quarter, right? And that's very important. For crypto exchanges, we recommend BitGet because this is probably sponsored by BitGet. I mean, that's the truth. And trust me, you can be so sure you have so much opportunity in BitGet. For example, you can buy US stocks on BitGet. That's the truth. Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, I mean, name it. You have over 100 listed US stocks on BitGet, right? I mean, that's not on any exchange right now. As at the moment I'm speaking with you, not on Binance, and that's the truth. I'm not sweet mouthing anything. Go check that out. Not on Binance, not on Bybit. You can trade, forex on Bybit, but you can buy, the stocks on them. So you can trade, and buy US stocks on BitGet. So it's a very important crypto exchange, and it's very, very great. And I think it's very seamless, not just because they sponsored this, but I think it's going to help us to also have access to a lot of information. We are definitely going to be bringing a lot of signals for us. If you're part of us and you're on the BCB Lounge, I want to congratulate you. A lot of signals that are important for you to do and buy, since we've been forecasting that the market is primed for a sell, the entire financial market, including Bitcoin. What do you think you can still buy in cryptocurrencies? You can actually be so sure that you being around will give you heads up and information around what you can still do to make the most of the current market deep, and that will give you earnings, and that's that on that regard. So I think that's all there is we want to discuss, and then we just have to wrap things up in this our discussion. In summary, we have discussed the history of money, the evolution into cryptocurrencies, and how crypto itself from blockchain to blockchain has evolved. We have discuss the role of the financial market and how the trading institution works. The difference between spot and future trading has been discussed, and the very importance of demand and supply, and how all of this contributes to the pricings of different cryptocurrency assets. And we've been given the assignment of you going to download all of these platforms, downloading TradingView, CoinMarketCap, and CoinGecko. And I think you can also pick up the assignment you have in this slide, which is you picking up a crypto chart. I think it'll give us a chart for us to go pick, and I think it's going to be important. Let's pick the chart, Litecoin. So Litecoin. So just look at it, and of course, look at this, the interface, and change it to 1D or daily time frame. Change it to a daily time frame, which is a bigger or higher time frame. There is a 4 hours chart. There is a 1 day chart. There is the 3 days chart. There is a 1 week chart. There is a 5 minute chart. There is a 1 minute chart, and all these charts simply important to your analysis, which reveals that one candle in a 5 minute chart is 5 minutes. One candlestick in a 50 minutes chart is 50 minutes. One candlestick in a 1 day chart is 24 hours or 1 day. So pick a chart I already mentioned, and a Litecoin. I think Litecoin will be better. Look at Litecoin, and on TradingView or on BitGet, because BitGet also has all these chart patterns. Look for Litecoin. I would also walk us through the interface if we don't know, but if we do, just look for Litecoin, which is best searched as LTC. So search for LTC. So LTC, it will be paired as LTC USDT, because you use USDT to buy LTC, and LTC is more expensive. That's why LTC is on the left. So LTC is known as the base currency, while USDT is known as the quote currency in this case. So search for LTC and look at the chart, study the chart to identify the demand, right, which is the zone of buy, which should be lower. You already know that. And then to identify the supply, right, which is the zone of the sell, which is the higher zone, right? I think that's all there is. We want to discuss. I want to appreciate us for coming. So thank you. And once again, you can keep communications in our Telegram group. So yeah, we can actually unmute and ask questions. Thank you once again for joining. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I actually gave two options. I said they can either use TradingView, but if TradingView looks a bit complex, since they will need a bit of walkthrough, and that should be done tomorrow, a walkthrough on TradingView, they can just use BitGet. So open BitGet exchange, head over to, let me in fact walk us through how we can get there using my phone. So go to BitGet, and then click on trade. It's somewhere at the lower bar of your mobile devices. You'll see trade. When you click on trade, once you click on trade, you'll be able to you'll see spot. You'll be welcome to spot. On spot, you'll tap anything you see there that is paired with USDT. Tap that point, and once you tap that point, impute in the search bar LTC. It will bring out Litecoin for you, LTC, and then you would see a place that looks like a candlestick. I wish I can be showing that on camera right that's from here. I don't know if this can be seen. Yeah, so if this is I don't know. So I don't know if it's Okay, maybe. Okay, let me join. Let me join with the phone. Thank you. So, the link. Okay, the new link. Would you mind sending me the new link me on WhatsApp so I can quickly? And so, meanwhile, if you have any question, please you can go ahead while we try to join on. Mute your mics and ask questions so we can answer. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, ma. Yeah, yeah, I have. So maybe I should just share my screen. Okay, so that you all can see this. Okay, yeah. Apologies, please. Okay, I think you should be seeing this right now. Are we all seeing this? Okay, so when you get over to BitGet, click on trade. Once you get to trade, this point, I don't know if you see this point where it's written LTC. It could be anything. Let's say it's BTC that you found there. Just tap on it. Once you tap on it, use the search bar to impute LTC. And once you do that, tap on the LTC. Then you see this point where you're having candles that are black, top right corner, close to this three dotted icon. So you click on those, right? And then you'll be brought here. So with this is a 4 hours chart. You see it's on 4. I can bring it to 1. The chart looks different. I can click on 1 day, which is 1 day. And with this, you can look at the chart and ask yourself, where is the demand zone? Where did the market get to and it begins to buy? Here, the market bought, and I looked to the side. From here, it bought, right? I can also see that it also bought from here, which is about the same point. Let me see if I can tilt my screen. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. I want to really tilt my screen. That's why. I don't know why it's not tilting. Either ways, what I was trying to say is this. You can literally see that at this point, something like that, right? This was the first point I was making reference to. This point, I don't know if we can see that. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, let me use this. This is the first point that the market sold or bought from. It went a little bit upward, and then this point also here, right? So this point A, point B, that's a demand. So I just want you to just look at it study it, identify those points, right? So we can have a visualization of demand and supply zone. Of course, the market goes to that same point, right? The third time here, and it refused to buy. It rather sold when it came this low. And so that's just for us to have a bit of understanding of demand and supply practically by looking at it, right? That's all there is. I just want us to do. I believe we got that. Okay. Okay. All right. So I think yeah. All right. So are there any questions for us? We are literally done. Any questions? We're done. Yeah. Good evening, sir. Uh, thank you very much, sir. Mm. Ah, all right. Thank you, sir. The pleasure is mine. I really appreciate this compliment. Thanks a lot, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks. Yeah. No, 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 no. I think that was a mistake. It must have been the one erased the other time. Mm. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and you too, everyone. Bye.